Mrs. Keener, Employee and Community Relations, to discuss the ordinance of the city clerk's position.
Thank you, Mr. President. Everyone should have in their email received the job description for this from the Safety Service Director. There were a couple other positions included in there, but they're job descriptions, but we're not going to discuss those tonight. We're going to try and focus just on the city clerk position. This is something that we prepared for financially when we went through the budget at the very end of last year, and Mr. Salyers talked a lot about this role kind of growing, and especially with the new facility where City Hall is going to be housed, it's going to kind of take on some new work that is outlined in this job description. So I will let the Safety Service Director talk about this a little bit, and then we'll kind of go down the row and ask questions that way.
Yep. Thank you, Councilwoman. Just to kind of give an overview of what this position will morph into, right now we have a council clerk. This will be a city clerk position that will take over the principal role as chief retention officer. Just want to, before we keep going. Okay. We've had a few complaints about, are we mic'd up on your end?
There, I heard it.
Test.
Wonder if that board on?
It's on.
So is it coming through online? I think that's the most important thing. We can all shout in here, but
Yeah.
Everybody in here can we all hear in the crowd? Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Okay.
so I'd say just speak up, and that
Okay.
means me.
Won't
Speak up,
be
Tanner.
won't be a problem for me. Yeah. Okay. So right now we have a city clerk. Right now we have a council clerk, and then we have several boards and commissions that are basically being having that clerk role fulfilled by employees all across the city. This will consolidate that into the role of the city clerk. Also, we have a chief retention officer and a public records facilitator in HR. This will also take that over. And then we have a records management system that's being maintained right now. It's mostly being managed by an intern, waiting for really this program to really, it's called Record Room, Record Hub. We're really waiting for this position to take take flight, and then all the administrators in the different departments will work with the city clerk and our retention schedules to get those get our documents online. That way we can make that more public after more of those records are online. So there's a lot more to this than just the council clerk's role. I would say the totality of the council clerk's role in this city clerk position is probably 25% of the role. One of the questions that was asked at the last meeting by President Hawkins was, so would this position answer to city council or the president of council, whether that, and however council would determine to, manage that, whether it's the president of council, whether it is the chair of employee and community relations, however it would be determined. The answer is yes. So for the duties of the council clerk, council would be in charge of, overseeing the city clerk. For the duties of all other administrative duties, the administration would oversee, and specifically, as Mr. Byrne and I were discussing, the Safety Service Director would oversee as the safety service director oversees any other department head in safety or service departments. So, again, that's 75% of the job will likely be, other things related to the Shade Tree Commission, Municipal Planning, Utilities Commission, and that's just a handful of some of the commissions that this, the Recreation Board, just a handful of the boards and commissions that this position will cover, not to mention all of the records and records retention that this position will manage. So the mayor had mentioned, I think it would be a good idea if, when evaluations are done, both city council and the administration sign off on any sort of evaluations that are done on this position. And I'm saying this as though the individual's not in the room, but we would like to talk about the position as though it's, a position on the whole and not the individual. So in perpetuity, for hiring or disciplinary practices, this would be done in tandem. If it's a matter of, if there's any sort of discrepancy in performance of job duties on the administrative side of things, we would welcome, a representative from council to sit in on any sort of disciplinary action that the administration would take, and vice versa. If council is, displeased with any sort of action that the city clerk would take, then the administration would also be in on any sort of disciplinary action. In past practices, it was a little bit closer to home, where the mayor's assistant specifically was sharing this duty with the council clerk. So you put the council clerk in a little bit of a precarious situation if there were ever a controversial piece of legislation or a more contentious time, as we don't always have, luckily, in our city, but every now and then there will be a more contentious piece of legislation or a more controversial situation that would come up. And then you would have what is essentially a part-time counsel trying to tell a full-time employee who works directly with the mayor and safety service director day in, day out, what to do, and you want to avoid that. This structure, I think, allows us to do a lot more with a full-time employee, and allows us to provide more services to the community, and creates that distance between both the administration and council, and just creates essentially an agnostic employee that's just doing their job.
So, questions from council?
I have a question. When Todd left as clerk, our concern was he had two bosses. And now he's still gonna, this person's still gonna have two bosses. And they're reporting to two different people, and that was what we're trying to get away from. The other concern I have is if they're gonna be at the front desk of the new city hall, if the person takes a lunch break, if the person is absent, who takes care of that? Who's gonna be responsible? We wanna be responsible to the public when the public comes in. So how do we know we're gonna address the issues with the public when they come in if that person's not in that seat?
So there are 2 seats at the front desk of the new municipal center. Get the door. And 2 doors. There are 2 desks, so we'll always make sure that the front desk is covered, and that will not be an issue. Additionally, like I mentioned, there's a little bit more of a separation with the structure here. So there's a little bit of a difference, I believe, and you may disagree, but when it is the mayor's assistant, there's a certain anticipation of service to that particular elected individual or that office versus an employee of the administration doing an administrative duty.
If you look at if I may, just if you look at the mayor's assistant's job description, it did not say that council serving as the council clerk may serve as a council clerk. It didn't say was the council clerk. So that's where I think part of that frustration might have come into. So
Well, I think also when Todd took a completely different role, it was for Todd's skills to fill a completely different role as well. So I would not argue that when that shift happened, it was exclusively the issue of the clerk also working for the mayor. So just my perspective, I think that that individual had skills that were looked at for something else at the time. Are there other questions, though?
This position will be posted if it goes forward.
No, because this position is really an expansion of a role that is currently filled. It's just changing the job description of a job that exists. So it's not adding to the head count.
How would this affect Zach, for example?
It would directly affect Zach.
Right.
If he
Very
did,
much.
If he did not wish to fill this role and take on a set of new responsibilities, we would have to expand our search.
Well, and if I may, to that, Councilman Miller brings up a good point. So how the posting would be affected is, as Zach is a part-time employee now, fulfilling what is essentially this current role, this is an expansion of this job in particular. If Zach were to say, no, thank you, I'm not interested in this, what we would do is post the job internally first to see if any other internal candidates would be interested in this position. If they would not, then we would externally post the position. So traditionally, we would, if we didn't have a candidate for the position, it would go through the traditional posting process. We would internally post and then externally post the job.
And then that brings forth probably the next obvious question, is Zach interested in this full-time position? I don't know if it's proper to ask that or not, but the only way to find out if it's proper or not is to ask it, so I'm gonna ask it.
I will allow you to ask a question, but we did do our homework beforehand.
Okay.
This role previously was temporary, right? On the appointment of the meeting.
So for your knowledge, I suppose, prior to this arrangement, dating back to quote the Lord of the Rings, none now live who remember a time before it wasn't this way. Okay.
Somebody does.
Oh, okay, all right.
Gandalf
Gandalf
remembers.
over here. All right. So this used to be, hang in there, Dale, we'll get there.
No, I never seen it.
All right.
I have to
So,
admit, I never saw Lord of the Rings.
It used to be the mayor's assistant also served as this position. And another fun fact is, for cities that are statutorily under 20,000 people, you can also, the city auditor can also serve in this capacity, but I don't think we want to throw that on Dan. So there are a multitude of ways that you can do this.
I am planning to just take this, like, have the second reading tonight and take it to its third reading at our next meeting. So if there are more questions, please reach out to me or the Safety Service Director, and we will do our best to answer those before we get to the next meeting. And I have like 30 seconds left. Whoever's after me, you're welcome.
Okay. We're going to adjourn the Employee and Community Relations. We're going to move now to Police, Fire, and Civil Defense with Councilman Miller to discuss the resolution on hazard mitigation plan.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Members of council, I'd like to direct your attention to the agenda packet that we had got out, referencing pages 6, 7, and 8. This is going to directly address what we're going to speak about under this committee meeting for the local hazard mitigation plan. Real quick, I don't want to take up too much of our time. This is about a 300-page document, and I would invite you to take a look at it sometime at your convenience, maybe perhaps on a snowed-in weekend. But basically, the local hazard mitigation plan is a FEMA-approved planning document that helps a community reduce future disaster losses before emergencies occur. Rather than focusing only on response and recovery, an LHMP helps local governments take practical, cost-effective steps now to lessen the impacts of disaster on people, property, and critical infrastructure. As far as city council members are concerned, this protects residents and community assets. It supports smarter land use and infrastructure decisions. And this is probably the most important part. It is required to remain eligible for certain federal disaster mitigation grants. So if we would have a disaster and we don't adopt this plan, it's not going to do us any good to apply for any relief from FEMA because they're just going to flatly refuse it, okay? The plan is a strategic document developed by local government and approved by the FEMA. Now, in going through this 300-page document, I found there have been several meetings of several county officials throughout the entire county have spent quite an exhaustive amount of time, you know, developing this document. It's been posted many, many times for public participation to come to the meetings and discuss all the things. It's very, very comprehensive. It's basically its purpose is to identify hazards that could affect the community, understand how vulnerable people, buildings, and infrastructure are to those hazards, and establish long-term actions to reduce or eliminate risk. What it isn't, it's not an emergency response plan, it's not a short-term or one-time document, and it's not limited to natural disasters only. Okay, why it matters to City Council is that City Council plays a key role in shaping how communities grow, invest, and protect residents. The LHMP supports those responsibilities by protecting lives and property, identifying risk in advance, reducing injuries, fatalities, and property damages. This is a yearly review, and it's basically every 5 years we have to sit down and reassess this, go through the whole meetings process and everything, and then we have to adopt this new plan every 5 years to remain eligible for FEMA grants. And it goes on to say, you know, most of the hazards that we're going to deal with in this community, and if you reference the whole 300-page plan, you're going to see on section 2-112, there's going to speak up different risk factors. And our biggest risk factor is probably storms, utility failure, and flood, you know, being our three most primary. Some of the secondary issues that it's not so top shelf for us, so to speak, would be an earthquake, which, you know, is very low probability that we would have that, invasive species, and different things. So mostly we're looking at storms, utility failure, and flood as being high priority on this. By adopting this, we're confirming a commitment to reducing disaster risk, and most importantly, once again, because I can't overemphasize this, it maintains our eligibility for mitigation grants, and it also endorses long-term planning. What it doesn't do is it doesn't require any immediate spending, remove local authority, or mandate all actions be implemented. So in conclusion, I guess the mitigation plan helps communities plan ahead, reduce loss, and protects residents. City Council adoption ensures the community is prepared not just to respond to disasters, but to prevent them from becoming catastrophic. And with that, we'll take any questions. We have someone here. I'd like for you to come up and speak for a moment, if you would, please. And I apologize, I'm terrible at names, so if you'd state your name.
Dale, that's fine. James DeShawn, Knox County, MA. I couldn't have wrote that better myself. You took all my talking points away. If I go on vacation, you can.
Well, in the interest of time, maybe that's a good thing.
You can fill in for me. So yes, this is a 5-year plan. We review it every year, just like Dale explained. We have several hundred man-hours of our local constituents involved in looking at what these hazards are for Knox County, reviewing what we've already done in past years, and we look at that wish list. If money was no object, what would we do? And there again, those are things that we can look at when you folks are doing projects. already in an area. Maybe you use some mitigation money to, fix the storm sewer a little bit better than you would have because you realize there's an issue there. So as part of this is EMA. Obviously, I have a pretty full plate. I got a grant to allow me to hire a consultant firm. I have Sandy and Rick from Resource Associates. You're on your third round of this probably, so 15 years of doing Knox County. He's very familiar with that. Rick was the EMA director in Richland County, so he's familiar with the area. Some of their hazards in Richland County obviously are the same hazards we have here. We had discussion with Mrs. Hager and Mr. Miller and the mayor on kind of going through what this was in the adoption process. There again, you have to have that for any mitigation efforts and any declaration of emergency after the fact to get reimbursement. So I know the cattle dam was kind of a thing that came up. Is there money maybe available for that? We found that in the plan, right, Lynn? We looked to see what might be available for that. If you have any pinpoint questions, I guess, about what projects might be covered, that'd be something that I think Sandy can fill you in on that.
I was wondering, would this directly tie into the work that we're doing, like down in the second ward and with the
Yes, it does.
Floodplain
There have
and all
been
that.
many changes since the last time we did this 5 years ago, and so having fresh data is one of the things that Knox EMA and the planners have at their fingertips now. And so that also continues. It's not the freshest, but it's pretty close, and so we'll continue to provide them with the height elevation study information that we have, and with sort of what our plans are to help with the flood mitigation, both in the city limits and hopefully appealing to help from the county and the townships as far as what's happening upstream that can help reduce the likelihood of the flood, particularly on that a possible flood on the west end.
Thank you. I just wanted to know how that tied together.
Yeah, so to get to this point, we've had several people in this room were at our meetings where we gathered information, updating and things like that.
Does the city have to approve this and then the county is a separate approval? Or is it
So
kind of all
the
tied
county's
together?
already approved it. Commissioners did it second day they had it in their hands. The villages, most have approved it. I think I got one more left, and then you folks. Typically, it goes to Chicago, correct? So FEMA has this lottery where they pick every fifth one to go to Chicago for approval. Well, where we are with FEMA right now, that's not happening. It's going to be approved at the state level. So the draft that was online, I think you probably shared the link with them. Some of those things have changed. Sandy's working with the state right now to get some of the high hazard dam language corrected to what they want. But because of that has changed, the state has asked us to go ahead with the adoption process and have that ball already rolling, since it's not going to FEMA for that final, as it has in the past.
Well, the federal government has laid off a lot of FEMA employees.
Yes.
How does that impact us?
Well,
Yes, we
that's
have
why
this-
that's why we're changing the way we're doing things, and we're not waiting for that adoption to happen or that approval to happen at the federal level before it comes to us for adoption.
There's a massive number of people laid off.
Mm-hmm.
That's so scary in case of a disaster.
To clarify, sir, Mr. Miller, I think you said, I'm sure we're going to partner with the county on some of this stuff, but this does not obligate the city to any specific monies.
Exactly.
Okay.
You're exactly correct in that statement.
Just clarifying that. Thank you.
Could I ask a clarifying question? I thought I heard you say this, but if we approve this, then if we are doing infrastructure improvement that leads to mitigation, we can qualify for federal grants for.
That's correct. So to give you for instance, there was a lot with a home on it in the Apple Valley area years ago, continuous flooding, continuous insurance claims. The county actually used mitigation money to purchase that property and turn it into green space. I have to go out once a year, take a picture of it, prove that no structure's been built on that, but the federal money paid for that to happen. You have homes maybe, in one area that continues to flood, and you have those issues. That federal money could turn that to green space for you, and you make a park out of it. things like that.
Thank you.
I wanted to follow up on a question that Councilman Sevens asked. The county's already adopted this, so are we the last in line to adopt this before we can proceed with it and submit it?
I
or
think
are
we
there
have
other
one more
entities?
village that's left for adoption.
Okay. And then I guess my final question would be, I've tried to research this as much as I could in the limited amount of time looking at it. I always try to look for positives and negatives on these things, and I see a whole bunch of positives, but I'm not finding the negatives. So in fairness of, total transparency on this whole thing, is there any negatives that I'm missing on this?
I don't see negatives on this at all. There again, like you stated and told everybody, this isn't a response plan.
Right.
This is a plan to mitigate further issues before these emergencies or disasters happen.
And you said there's one township or one village that we're waiting on.
Yes.
When would you anticipate them
I would say
adopting
within the
this?
next month.
Okay, all right.
And if they don't, it's still go forward?
Yeah, that's my other question. If one entity would not adopt this, how does it affect the remaining entities that
I don't know
would be
that
in
I've
favor
ever
of?
seen that happen. Is that the only entity that wouldn't be eligible, or? Okay.
Okay.
So it would be silly not to.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess I just want to close by saying one last thing. It's like normally I'm a very strong proponent of taking things to 3 readings and making sure that, we get everything exposed to the public. I'm not really seeing any negatives, so I might be kind of inclined in regular legislative session this evening to go ahead and bypass, the rule for 3 readings and take this to its 3rd and final reading, but I'd like to get any input that any council members would have on that.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, I think the
Suspend the rule and take it to the 3rd and final.
Okay, very good. I believe we're in agreement then.
Okay, thank you.
We're gonna adjourn the, Police, Fire, and Civil Defense Committee. We're gonna move down to Streets and Public Buildings of Mr. Severance. He has two pieces of legislation here. The first one is the Brownfield Remediation Program.
Yes, Mr. Ball is going to come up and kind of talk to us about this a little bit here.
Yeah, we have a great opportunity to jump into a state grant to look at, and the word brownfields maybe it's sort of more on a demolition grant more than brownfields, but we're allowed to do demolition because several of these structures we're looking at have asbestos in them. So let me bring up a board here for you to. So I'll just lay them down here for now. So we'll start with the State Route 13. We have State Route 13 south. And I can put you want to put that on stand, we are in the process of buying a whole
Brian.
amount of structures for.
Brian, can you please put that up there so it can face the camera and then talk at the podium?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, there we go. You got the camera there,
Yep.
right? Okay, so, right, we have this, we're acquiring these different structures for the State Route 13 project. The project also passes through an old coal, oil, and gas works. So, previous councils authorized demolition of the buildings. We have a grant from the member designated funds from Troy Balderson's support. We estimate the demo is about $550. We have $425. So by applying for this grant, we help do the demo work. Also, we estimate a little over $400,000 worth of contaminated soil that's on this project. I'll switch boards. So the back here can use this one. So again, this is the look and feel of the road alignment, and where the Quick Lube is, that area was a railroad. It was also was a coal, oil, and gas works. So those are two areas we'd like to put the money toward the project. The other aspect is, as we work toward planning the future of our municipal court, we have some very poor condition buildings just north of 40 Public Square. We also anticipate needing to demolish those as we work through all the, finalizing the public comments and the historic coordination. But the idea of this grant would be bundling those sort of three separate bids into one grant application. We can get up to $1 million, but I believe the land bank has a couple small things they want to do. So we would target our grant application to mesh up with Sam Felkin's ask, so that the combined ask would be, $1 million. I can't remember his number. I think it was like 240. I'd have to ask. I can't remember. So we would be applying for this through the brownfields, through the Ohio Department of Development. Obviously, there's some coordination with Ohio EPA. Questions?
If you don't get the grant, have we allocated the money to? Okay.
Yeah, so for at least the State Route 13 project, we have budgeted, as we, either way, we're our full blast on this project. If we don't get the grant, we've still budgeted to put our cash contribution into the project. I believe we budgeted for the demo north of Public Square. So this would just help us reduce our capital outlay.
So Brian, just explain a little bit more. So where the old Duke was and SOS has been, there's kind of contaminated soil in that area.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they have to dig down.
Yeah.
So far to remove all that.
Yeah, there's coal waste, and they had a coal stockpile and other things there that it's never a good idea to build your road on coal. So we would need to remove that. That would need to go to we would not be able to have people take it home and use it in their gardens. It would have to go to a certain level of landfill. So we've budgeted for that, because we've done lots of drilling. We've done environmental phase 1, environmental phase 2. So we have a reasonable idea what's out there. It's not, we don't know exactly till we dig it up.
Council, any other questions?
No.
Okay, thank you. I think we can end that one.
Okay, remove your other committee meeting on resolution 10 and 12 on State Route 13.
Mr. Ball.
All right. Move this out of the way. So this is Route 13 North. We are, what I'd say, the beginning of the beginning for this project. You have two handouts. We did not make any boards. So we, as a general recap, we had applied for several different funds to do some work on Edgewood Road, and it was very clear that that was not wanted by our voters. So at the mayor's direction, we went back and we looked at the crash data for all the intersections in the city, and we took a safety approach of where are the areas that have crashes, that have a need, right? And so we had a company go through and look at all the crash data for a rolling 3 years. So the one that says GCAT, this is our project that we felt, meeting with ODOT and going through our portfolio of safety issues, that the North Sandusky Street, Upper Fredericktown Road intersection, that intersection has multiple crashes. We've had a fatality at that intersection. It's kind of a saddle of jurisdictions. So it's, the city is, you're in, you're out, you're up, you're down as you're up in this neighborhood. So some parts are Clinton Township, some parts are ODOT, some parts are county. So as we looked at this intersection, we went around to all these different partners. And honestly, while we were looking at this, I think the county commissioners came to the mayor and said, hey, this intersection is pretty bad. And sort of the ships came together, and we realized that this was an opportunity for a partnership because of the hazards that we've observed at this intersection. So we went ahead and we did a grant application. Our initial application was for $820,000. Based on the need across the region, we were awarded $524,976.14. So there are two actions we're asking. One is to enter the contract with ODOT to basically accept those funds and start a project that would be in the planning phase. The second action is for us here in the city to go out and look for qualified firms to help us do some of the planning and move the project up to basically do the planning, do the public meetings, and get from where we are now, where maybe we have 5 or 6 ideas of what could be built, and then bring that up to a selected, this is what we would recommend to build. So we're not starting this with, we don't know what we're doing exactly, right? There are several different intersection alternatives. I will say that some of them are going to be roundabouts that will be evaluated. Mel and I went to a roundabout conference. I think Mel drank the Kool-Aid, but that is not confirmed yet. So, don't roll the roundabouts yet. But it is Andrew Pike, if you've met Andrew, a very smart person on our regional transportation committee, has several good ideas that are not roundabouts. So we need to look at the pluses and minuses, right? So again, this is 13 North. So we did a safety project that ended at Stump Street and at James Street. This would be picking up from our last ODOT project in this area and going up the top line on your map is the top edge of Clinton Township. So Upper Fredericktown Road is a county road. Route 13 goes from a city state route to an ODOT state route. I think Clarence Court is in the city, and Buena Vista is not. So, and then Stump and Northview are in the township. So this is like I said, a multi-jurisdictional project. But in the grant application, we did get a letter of support from the county engineer, both the townships, the county commissioners, Knox Area Transit. So this project, as we were formulating, it has a lot of support. So, questions?
Yeah, since we're dealing with so many governmental entities, are we the only one that has skin in the game?
At this point, the federal government, ODOT, and the city will have skin in the game in the planning phase. As we go forward, we would look at bringing other partners in once we have that sort of selected alternative. So I think our cost share, so we would be, these type of grants are 20% us and then 80% state and federal.
Townships may have to ante up some of these or not?
Hard to tell. We don't know. So we have this grant, and like I said, we'll go through the planning phase. We'll pick a selected alternative, and depending on the benefits, right? So the ODOT and the Department of Federal Highways will grade the benefits of the project. So it's hard if they see the more benefits they see, the more they'll typically give us. As we could probably talk about in the FEMA world, the rules are always changing, right? So the rules today will not be the same rules when we go and ask for more design money and then eventually construction money. But if you look back at other projects that we've done, like Fairgrounds Road, that was a joint project, and the county contributed significant funds to that project. We'll be talking later this year about the Crystal Avenue water line. That is a project that will be state funded, township funded, maybe federal funded and city funded. So we have I think we have a good track record of really reaching out and working with our partners. So at this point, we're going to take the lead to get this job started, and then we'll be back before, before we go to the next stage.
Questions, council? I mean, this would be a.
Not a
huge
question, but a
project.
comment. That's, a lot of traffic comes in from the north part of that, to the city. So if we had an opportunity to increase the safety and improve the aesthetics of it, I think it's a good idea.
Yep.
That is an intense intersection.
Yeah. And we're seeing growth, business growth, residential growth, and, back to that sort of city master plan, we are pushing this project with sidewalks on all sides of the roads, extending that access, improving utilities as we go. We have some aging utilities in this area because we do service water and wastewater outside of the city in this intersection. So some of those assets are aging out too. So, and hopefully that could be funded by some others.
I drive this intersection at least once a day, sometimes 2 and 3 times. And then I have biked, I'm a bicyclist, and I have biked through this area, and I could see where something, whether it's a roundabout or whatever, would be beneficial, because it's very difficult to mitigate where to turn, when to turn, and all those things, especially if you're coming out of the side streets over here. It's very difficult through there, so.
Yep. And I think one of the goals that we've been studying, the mayor, a bunch of us have gone to the sustainability conference twice now, is, it's that change of mindset, right? We started with the mindset of put up a sign, reduce the speed limit, enforcement. The challenge is, I'll look at the police chief, well, this isn't, part of this is in town, part of it's out of town. The road is conducive, the way it's laid out now, for people to drive 40, 50 miles an hour. We don't have the sight distances for that. The road's not, with the intersections and the businesses, it's not safe. But we can modify what we're looking at in the modern sort of traffic engineering is modifying the road so that it sort of coaches the driver into driving an appropriate speed. And so the industry is taking that approach. So the goal is to build something that maybe gets people to drive about 35 miles an hour, or in some areas, and maybe 20 as they approach the intersection. And then, we've learned a lot about traffic signals. I mean, if you were at Kroger the night before Thanksgiving and the power went out, and we spent an enormous amount of money on battery backups, and those are not as reliable as I thought they would be. So traffic signals are sometimes an answer, but they're not always the right answer. And as we're looking at, if we grade a project, I look at the mayor, when we're grading a project, we're thinking about that life cycle cost. If I put a traffic signal here, what are the safety concerns? How many staff do we need to maintain that? How long are those parts going to last? Things like that. Does the traffic light make people drive slower? Sometimes no. Sometimes when it turns green, they just go faster, right? So,
well, and this intersection is complicated because of the hill coming north. I mean, there's a large hill that.
Yeah.
It's a pretty quick,
Yeah.
You go over it fast, and it's 45 there, so just a stoplight there would just be a little bit.
Could be more dangerous.
Could be more dangerous.
Right. And so the thing we see is in doing traffic observations, Cameron Keaton did one, I've done several. If you're going to turn on Upper Fredericktown, do you turn on your right turn signal or not? Because
I do.
because then someone thinks, well, maybe you're going to turn on Crestview, right?
Yes.
So when do you signal? If you're taking 13, should you turn your left signal on? Then people think I'm going to turn into a business, or am I just following the route? So I don't know the right answer for how to signal in this intersection, but some people go straight, some people turn. It's very difficult to predict what the drivers are going to do because it's confusing.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
I know it very well. Yes.
So, but again, this is the beginning. So
Is it
we.
like 2 miles of road? 3?
I didn't measure that
In
part.
this area?
Yeah. The whole distance.
No, that's
Probably not.
probably
Half a
ten,
mile.
tenth or maybe a half.
Yeah, I didn't put a scale on
About
it.
quarter
half
mile.
a mile, 123 gravel.
Yeah, it's a bad area.
That's a lot of density.
It's a high crash density, yes, and 1 fatality. Yeah, so it's a high crash density, and again, this is, ODOT has to grade their projects across the whole state, so this is one that they are willing to support us on because of that crash density and the need, so.
If you want to get a feel for how difficult it is, during like about 5 o'clock, come south on Upper Fredericktown Road and try to turn left onto 13.
That's what I was gonna
It's
say.
a very difficult time. I just don't go that way during
Yep.
that time because you have to, you better hit the gas quick because you sometimes don't have a lot of time because cars crest that hill coming out of Mount Vernon quickly, and it's tough. I think anything that will force all directions of traffic to slow down and be aware will help this intersection.
Yep. And I think we want to emphasize that this project was brought to us by multiple people in Mel's neighborhood, folks from outside the city, folks from the county. This is not something that the administration just went in a small room and made up, right? This project is something we've looked at. People have brought this to us. So I believe we have a lot of community support for this.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ball.
Thank you.
You done, Mr. President? Might be
We're
a
going to
little bit
adjourn the
early.
streets and public buildings and move ahead of time to utilities with Mr. Ruckman to discuss the codified ordinance 991101, 04.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Council, this is having to do with fog legislation, which is not what you think. It's fats, oils, and greases. We're not seeking to legislate fog, I guess, but this is something that's been a long time coming, it feels like, on Utility Commission. So something that's been worked on for months now, working through this legislation. And actually, the past Utility Commission, commission itself unanimously approved that. So it's on its second reading this evening, and here to discuss this with us, Mr. Zimmerman.
Evening, council, and I would imagine you probably received this in your packet. It's pretty much housekeeping. We're cleaning up our previous ordinance and putting the responsibilities under my department. And doing so, that is one of my 4 divisions, you could say. Half of my department is under utilities, and the other half is under property maintenance, zoning, and enforcing those codes. So this here cleans it up. It gives myself and Mr. Marvin, and even we're going to be working with some of the probably utilizing some of the techs in the labs at the plants when need be for inspections and things like that. There's over 100, at least over 100 grease interceptors or grease traps. There's 3 different styles of them. One is like, if you see the little 3 compartment sinks, you have the rectangle box that sits there. That is an interceptor, or sometimes they're in the floor. This will also give us the ability, we're working with OpenGov. There'll be a citizens portal where the facility, whoever's in charge of that facility's fog, grease, will go online. They'll put their data and the type of interceptor they have. Then they can upload, because these need to be pumped out periodically. And I'm sure there's quite a few out there that are probably in need of it. And this is another way we can work with the facilities and compliance and being able to manage this. The biggest issue with this, and if I remember when I was first married, my wife was helping me brown hamburger, and she poured the grease down the sink. So needless to say, I was taking the trap apart and trying to heat it back up to get it out. Just imagine that on a full-blown restaurant and going into our sanitary sewers. When that stuff sets up, you cannot get hardly anything through. You got to use degreaser and a lot of manual hours to keep it clean. And if it would not set up there, sometimes it can get suspended and then be carried into the plant where it'll cause issues in our digester and things like that. Pardon me. This is a protection for our wastewater facility and our infrastructure and taking care of the citizens so we don't have backups and things like that. So this was one of the areas when the administration brought me back to start up code enforcement. This was one of the 4 biggies. So
Are there a lot of violators? I mean, I'm not trying to name.
no,
names, but
I don't think there's a bunch of violators.
Do you have a list, Mel?
Yeah. He can email me later. but no.
I will tell you, I remember going into Jake's,
Yeah.
which is whatever it is now.
I think it's a car
I think
wash
they had
now.
a big long grease slide
Oh.
down the side
Well-
of their parking lot constantly.
I'm glad you brought this up because I just finished an online course on this through the United States Fog Alliance.
Yes, that is a real thing.
That was riveting. But what was interesting was there was a whole section on there just on restaurant hood ranges.
Yeah.
And one of the big problems is if they don't clean this, and this is where we're going to branch off and work with the fire department probably down the road because they do those inspections, okay? If those are not cleaned properly, then the grease goes up through the fans. It collects on the roof. And then you'll see it run down the sides of the building where it ends up in our storm sewers. And then we have issues there. So that's why I was surprised when I first took this. I thought, yeah, there'll be grease traps and, interceptors. They spent I think I spent 2 hours just on restaurant hood ranges and the proper cleaning. And, a lot of times they'll this is where the enforcement comes in a little bit. They'll hire someone to come in and clean them, and they're the big square stainless steel. Well, they spray them with some degreaser in the parking lot, and then they power wash them in the parking lot in the middle of the night, and then it goes right down there. So that's where the inspections will come in. And we've already worked with the OpenGov and getting it set up online. Hopefully, we're going to launch that here within the next month. And I'm getting ready to start reaching out to some of the restaurants and people around, like I'm also going to do with solid waste. I'll be coming back because now we've already cleaned up the solid waste, but we're going to have backflows as well. Yeah.
So I have read this and read this and read this, and maybe I'm missing it. It says there's a fee. How
Yes.
much is the fee?
The fee is set by the control board.
And I brought that for you.
Thank
And-
you.
I just got to find it.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out too that this was something that we caught in the Utilities Commission, that we don't have to do it right now, I don't anticipate council will be taking action tonight, but we will need to amend in, I believe it's section 5, where it says failure to pay fees will result in termination.
May result.
It will be may result in
Yes.
termination of water. And we should probably just go ahead and amend out the wastewater section, because I don't even know that we have the
I don't know how
ability
we
to.
would shut them down.
Yeah.
That was my
I don't
next
know.
Yeah,
question.
all right.
Put a plug in
So,
it, I don't know.
yeah.
I mean, there's no valving on it. Now, there is some valving on some of the smaller interceptors that are inside, but I mean, that's just a
So
If
what
you shut
is-
off water, you're,
yeah.
What is the fee?
The fee is going to be $75 per facility annually. And then we have a caveat here, if you're a nonprofit, that is reduced 50%. Because, thank you. It's kind of hard to read through a smudge. It's $75 annual fee. They'll be able to go online, set this account up, and pay for that right there on the spot. That'll cover myself or someone else in my department coming out and doing an inspection. We have an inspection sheet that they will receive. They'll also be able to upload when it's pumped. And this is going to be a program that we're going to install to be able to try to help people be compliant and understand that, if you've got, not to pick on Chinese food, because I love it, but, you know, if you've got a Chinese restaurant, and say you have a 500-gallon interceptor out in your parking lot, an annual pumping might not be nearly enough, you know? And the thing about these, they're designed to work about 25% of capacity. Because you have your water coming in, of course, water's heavier, grease rises, and then your solid, your grit, like garbage disposals, things like that, they drop out. And then your water goes like under a baffle, it's pushed under and comes up, and then it goes out to your sewers. So if you don't keep them pumped out, then eventually that grease will build and build and build, and then it gets past the baffle, and then there's nothing stopping it. So that's the big concern right there. So.
And then so this does not include like oil change places. That's a separate, or does it?
No, this is any place that needs to have a grease interceptor,
Okay.
and it can be
Because we got
plant-based.
20 or 30 of those around.
Well, Mel,
It's enough out of you, Mel.
come on now. We don't get to pick those either. Believe me, I would love to have an Applebee's. Yeah,
Or roosters.
yeah, our roosters. Yes. Okay, we digress, Mel.
But it does include those as well.
Yes, it does, and the car washes and everything, because there's a fair amount of grit, especially this winter, you know. So, and I haven't even scratched the surface on them yet, but we're gonna get this rolled out. We're gonna take it in strides. We're gonna use it as an educational tool, and the fees are mainly for covering the inspection. Now, say they fail, or there's a problem, and then, you know, we'd give them time to fix it, of course. And if they don't, then there would be another inspection fee on top of that if I would have to go out, or someone in my office. So this is not to be a punitive endeavor. This is for education and to keep our system safe, because I'm sure that the wastewater plant would appreciate not having contaminants come in to make their job harder, and we do have a scenic river that we discharge into, so.
No, and
So,
we also
sir,
need
one-
this for compliance with the EPA.
Yes.
Say 1 fee per address, per facility? Or if you
Yeah,
have,
more
if
than
you have
like-
multiple
Yeah,
enterprises in the same
yeah,
address doing the
one
same
per
thing?
facility.
One per
Yeah,
facility, okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, because, I mean, out at, if you have certain food halls and things like that, that's a good point. I would say, but that facility would fall under, you know, if you have a strip mall, you might have more than one restaurant in that strip mall, so each facility would be responsible for their own interceptor.
Each enterprise?
Yes, yes.
Within the overall address? would be-
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And now when we get to backflow, I'll give you this free. We do have a max on that set, so, and this is all done through the Board of Control.
Any other questions?
I know it's exciting stuff. You sure you're done?
Riveting,
Okay.
riveting. So,
He's doing it, not me. Okay, we're gonna adjourn that committee meeting. We're now in recess until 7:30 PM. We begin the legislative portion of the meeting.
that one too.
Here. Mr. Ruffman.
Here.
Mrs. Hager.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Severns.
Here.
Ms. Keener.
Here.
Mr. Mayhem.
Here.
We are in session. The invocation this evening will be given by Reverend Christopher Liberati from the Gay Street United Methodist Church. But I also ask him, before he gives the invocation, to give a plug for the coldest night of the year, which benefits the homeless shelter, if you would.
Amen. Thank you, President.
Hi.
Hi. So good to be here tonight. So yeah, I sit on the board of Winter Sanctuary, and February 28th we're having the coldest night of the year. It's going to be our fundraiser for the Winter Sanctuary. And how many of you have embraced this cold snap that we've had? No, one person, two
love it.
people, 2 or 3. Okay. Most of us haven't, right? And now try to imagine if you didn't have the comforts of a warm home or a blanket. And so that's why we do what we do at the Winter Sanctuary. We try to provide that warm place for folks to get in and out of the cold. And so we're going to have our fundraiser on the 28th. And the host church is Gay Street UMC. The route's already been selected. And we encourage all of you to support us either by walking or pledging to support one of the walkers. You can do that by going to CNOI online, and you can find our CNOI, yes, CNOY, coldest night of the year. And you can search
No,
for.
don't feel bad.
And I think of those people with ice storms in Tennessee, and I thank God every time my furnace kicks on.
Amen. Yeah.
It is tough for them, and we're fortunate not to have as much issue here. We do have a lot of homeless people that need to be kept warm.
We
And
do.
This is a great fundraiser.
And the numbers escape me, but they're bigger than you think as how many beds that we provide. You know, so.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I have a flyer I will pass around. There's a QR code if you want to just snap a shot of that and,
All right.
and view that later.
I'm walking.
I'll be there too.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you. Had you asked me ahead of time, I would have brought more material, been more ready, but it's certainly, you can find either just search up Winter Sanctuary or coldest night of the year, and the coldest night of the year will give you an opportunity to search for the events in Ohio. It's happening all across the America that night. So with that being said, if you would kindly take a posture of prayer. Source of all wisdom, we gather today to work for the welfare of our city. We ask for ears that truly listen to the people we serve and hearts that respect our differences. Help us to see what unites us and to build bridges toward a better future for every neighbor. May our work tonight reflect the highest integrity and a shared vision for our community. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, in your packets were the minutes from the January 27th meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, I'd ask for a motion for approval.
So moved.
move.
Second.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. They are approved. Mr. Sherman, any petitions or communications?
No.
You do have some committee reports in your packet from 2 committees. I see no proclamations. Oh, we do have a proclamation designing the week of April 13th through 19th for International Dark Sky Week. Who has that proclamation?
I'm actually going to make a motion to table that until the actual week of April 13th, which is the first actual council meeting of the month of April. And that's the week of International Dark Sky Week.
All right. That proclamation is postponed till April 13th. Liquor control licenses.
So we do have one liquor control license for Divalesa Inc. 661 North Sandusky Street in Mount Vernon, and they have, again, is it 5 days to reach out? Or is it 30?
It depends on when we receive the request and when council is. This one, if there are concerns, reach out within the next 5 days, because it'll be due back to the state in about a week.
I was right on that one. 5 days.
All right. Any concerns, you can contact the clerk of council. If any concerns, within the next 5 days. Person speaking on matters of city concern, we do have Zach Green, our Knox County Commissioner, here for a quarterly report.
Good evening, council. Mr. President, thank you. Dale, we have not met, but nice to meet you. Taylor, I had the opportunity to briefly talk to you. So good evening. It's just Zach Green, the Health Commissioner, giving your quarterly update. I know you guys all showed up early for this, so please ask questions. In front of you is our quarterly stats. It's going to be a year end of 2025. I want to, as I always do, give you an update of where we ended in 2024 for Lyme disease was 124 cases. As you can tell, we had an increase to 195 between the 2 years. And unfortunately, as I always say, those numbers are going to continue to climb as we continue, to educate individuals to be aware of black-legged deer ticks and hopefully do our best to be able to get mitigating efforts. And if that includes doing regimen of doxycycline so it doesn't become a chronic issue, it's necessary. So we'll continue to work with our state partners and partner up with our vets as well, just because it's important to understand what it also does to our canine population. In addition to that, it is lovely influenza RSV season. We did see a significant peak in our RSV on or around the week of December 9th in our wastewater treatment. Influenza A did peak the week of Christmas. So December 23rd, we had a peak in our wastewater. And the influenza B, we started to see an incline the third week in January. That has not fully peaked at this point. The epidemiological trend typically for influenza B, we see on around the last week of February is what the last several years have shown. There are years that influenza B does not fully peak, so we'll continue to monitor that. All those RSV, influenza A, and influenza B are staying right around to low to moderate range, so we're not completely out of influenza A season. We are still seeing cases. I will tell you that our hospitalizations in regards to that Class B has declined greatly, which is a good news. So continue to ensure access to care. And med-surg is not present locally. It's always something we keep a close eye on. Just a friendly reminder, with us having a federally qualified health center, we do take in Medicaid, Medicare, uninsured, underinsured individuals. We did see a decline in Medicaid individuals coming in, and I'm fearful, I don't have the exact answer, but I'm fearful that some of those individuals potentially were impacted with the Medicaid unwinding. As you probably have seen, especially at the federal level, we're looking at $30+ billion deficit in our Medicaid in the state of Ohio, looking at a 10-year trend forward. All I can do is continue to educate you all. You know, Cheryl's here. If you guys know of individuals that maybe are no longer on Medicaid but could potentially qualify, just need primary care in general, that's what we're here for. We have patient care navigators that help them actually work with CMS and get them re-enrolled, or we can set them up as primary care as completely uninsured. The last thing we want to do is see chronic issues become abundantly an issue outside of just a world of prevention. So instead of flooding our hospital systems and healthcare premiums, as you're all fully aware, are extremely high, we got to do our best to treat those individuals, all of us for that matter, before it becomes a chronic issue. Congratulations in order to Anthony Bowersock. He's our new project director overseeing the Community Health Center. He also is going to step in and be the deputy health commissioner for the agency. So we are creating some succession, which is highly important. I want to give a special shout out to Dar Butts, who retired at the end of 2025 after 20 years of service. And Judy Miller will be retiring from our office next month after 21 years of service. So Judy is one of our registered nurses, and Dar was our patient service rep. If you ever went to our clinic in Danville, she was the person right there smiling. Everybody knew Dar. Everybody loved Dar. So I think she ended up with over 35 years of PRS. So sad to see her go, but definitely well earned for sure. The last thing I have, just as a reminder for our district advisory council that is slated for the first week in March, a city seat is up. I believe Kathy Breckler is
She's on for tonight's legislation.
perfect. Kathy does a great job, and we look forward to potentially bringing her on for another 5-year term. What questions do you guys have for me? Bruce, you got nothing?
I used to have a question.
I know.
I talked to you about Lyme disease before the meeting.
So is this the highest we've ever had, 195 in a year?
Yeah.
That you're aware of?
That we're aware of.
Do we have a mitigation plan to reduce this?
Not at this point. Obviously, we'd like to see eventually, sooner rather than later, vaccine opportunities like we have for canines, right? We do not have that. We know more about black-legged deer ticks and Lyme disease and animals than we do in humans at this point.
You think this cold weather will help it at all?
So actually, Mayor actually proposed that question, and I went to my epi and I said, hey, look, I know this is wishful thinking because of the cold weather. He goes, we got way too much snow. And I was like, I figured. The insulation of the snow, unfortunately, does give them some cover. So, which, it may not be as active, but to actually lessen the population base, they're not going to see a major reduction because of this. So, Taylor, if you got any ideas, buddy, I'm all ears. But it's the biggest thing right now is education.
I guess my concern is the ward that I live in is very heavily wooded.
Sure.
And the neighborhoods, even like the densely populated neighborhoods, have deer just walking through the neighborhood. Like you would stroll along the sidewalk, evening walk. They walk that confidently through our neighborhoods.
Very domesticated.
So people are like I told you this during the break. People like my daughter contracted Lyme disease playing in the front yard on Wood Lake Trail. They weren't out in the woods exploring. So I think
We are trying to mitigate that
Yeah.
with the deer management harvesting. Certainly is something. I think, did we have 20 this year harvested inside the city limits, Maureen? It was somewhere around that figure, about 20 so far. We'll have a report on that later, but that's one way that we're trying to help with the problem as well. And the meat obviously goes to use. We don't just harvest to just eradicate them. We want to keep them healthy. We want to keep, we want it as a sustainable food source as well. But they are an attractant for ticks.
Yeah, and herd control is extremely important, for sure. But Taylor, you make a great point, and that's the education piece, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to be in the scary woods
Right.
to contract Lyme disease. But there is that misconceived notion,
Yeah.
right? So.
Well,
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you because during the process that we went through, somebody reached out in your office. They talked us off the ledge of being scared,
Sure.
and knowing that that with quick treatment, you can. She bounced back in 2 weeks. Was playing soccer again. So I just really want to thank you for the work that you and everybody made.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. I'll take that back to my team.
I got
All
a
right.
couple things.
Well, everybody have a great evening. I
I got a couple
yes,
of things
sir.
real quick. Is there any particular mitigating factors that could be associated with this increase in Lyme's disease in our area that you're aware of?
Mitigating factors, not necessarily. If anything, when you look at central Ohio and as this vector continues to migrate west, it's important to realize that our numbers in Knox County are significantly higher than surrounding counties, and I would like to think it's not because black-legged deer ticks are here and not in Lincoln County, for example, but it's more creating the awareness and provider education to where titers is actually being ran. So when you say mitigating efforts, I think it's just solely the educational component of individuals wearing bright colors, realizing that they are active 365 days out of the year. Check yourself. The red famous bullseye is not a guarantee. It's about 50% of cases we see that. And the vast majority of people that do contract Lyme, I have no idea that they are even bitten by a tick.
And then one final question I had was in regards to immunizations. Have you noticed any increase in outbreaks of measles and different diseases Any
Increase in-
correlation to that to the amount of immunizations that you're supplying?
So an increase in individuals seeking immunizations?
No,
or-
an increase in cases of measles, mumps, and
So
different
yeah, I
things.
mean, we had a Class A outbreak of measles moving into second quarter of 2025 that was
Yeah.
pretty significant. We have, to most of my knowledge, within Knox County today, we do not have any positive cases of measles. But we do know, obviously, that continues to be a threat, and our vaccination rates, not just in Knox County, but across the country, continue to decline, and lessons will be relearned, unfortunately.
Okay, very good.
Just to reiterate, you can get a Lyme test at the health department.
Yes.
And it's important to know that. A lot of, it's an easy way to test it for sure. You go and get a Lyme test and they will do it there. And it's an easy way to check for it.
Yeah, it's titers and it's a blood draw, correct.
Is there a cost associated with that?
So there would be a lab cost, yes.
And that would be,
I'm not gonna be able to give that direct answer.
just a ballpark, something I wouldn't hold you to?
Well, it depends. What's your insurance? What's your insurance? Are you self-pay? But if you're
Self-pay.
okay, lab draw, I would say $30, and that's just
Okay.
me throwing something out there. That,
I'm not gonna hold you to it or
no,
anything.
I mean with a federally qualified health center and being able to do those type of diagnostics, we get a very significant reduction in those costs, just because we have a federally qualified health center.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Zach, for being here.
Is there a question in the back?
Not a question, actually, I wanted to provide some information.
Sure.
So last spring, we hosted a National Lyme Disease and Tick Awareness at our church, and we had Dr. Glenn Needham, who's a
Yeah.
resident expert in Lyme and tick disease. And so he presented, we partnered with the health department and Star Rodent. And
Hey, Overholt was there. Yep.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it was a great, we plan to do it again. And there's a reason why I was selected tonight to offer the prayer. I happened to get the most recent report from Dr. Glenn Needham on ticks and Lyme disease. And if you want to give me an email address, I can forward that to you. Like I said, we do plan on having another education seminar on it to serve the community. So I'd be glad to pass out more information. Very good. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Have a good evening.
Okay, thank you, Zach. Council, in your packet is the agenda for tonight. There was one item that they wanted to add tonight, which is ordinance number 232603. I assume the chair is okay with that?
Yes.
With that addition, are there any additions or corrections to the agenda? Not, I'll assume it's approved by consensus, and we'll move then to the resolution for third reading. We have two. The first one is resolution 2026-03. Mr. Sherman.
A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to advertise for bids and enter into contract for the 2026 Street Chip Seal Project.
Mr. Severance.
Yes, I move to adopt Resolution 2026-03.
Second?
And move to second to adopt this resolution. Any discussion? Mr. Severance.
We had a committee meeting at the last meeting and talked about this quite a bit. I think this is a good option for us to help improve some of these streets. Any other thoughts or questions?
Yeah, I had an email from a resident and had a couple questions regarding this. And Mr. Ball, and I really appreciate you staying for a few minutes to answer these questions because you didn't have to do that, and that was kind of you. So just for clarity, the resident lives on Newark Road, but we're not talking about actually chip sealing Newark Road.
Yeah,
But
we're
it
not,
would be the side streets connecting.
we're not gonna chip seal the Newark Road, which is State Route 13. We're not doing Martinsburg, which is State Route 586, and not Main Street. So
Okay.
it's the side streets.
Appreciate that. Resident was concerned about dust and concerned about loose gravel. And you said we're gonna use limestone and not the river rock. And
Yeah.
could you help us understand the difference there?
Right. So the traditional chip seal, a lot of people think of would be, you know, going to the local gravel pits and getting the round river rock gravel that's less durable. So it fragments easier, and it doesn't sort of bite in and add as much structure to the asphalt. When we go with the limestone, it's a broken, sharp, angular rock that tends to sort of sink in to the when you put the oil down, it sinks in and becomes part of the structure. So there's less dust, and then there's less product off to the side of the road. And it's something we could monitor too with, there will be gravel on the side of the road. That's something we can monitor about maybe sweeping that back in or using the street sweeper to pick that up. It's better if it gets sort of tracked into the road, but you know, it doesn't all get tracked in.
Okay.
And limestone will have some dust, but it also will help people perhaps drive a little slower while it's working in.
So is it just as safe as asphalt, or if someone takes a turn too quick, is it a little less safe? Or, you know, is that a significant difference?
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, if you're in a township, a standard township road, speed limit's 55 miles an hour, and most of the townships taking action to reduce it.
Right.
We're putting this on all of these streets are 25 mile an hour. So
Right.
at that point, if you're following the speed limit, there's not really much difference.
Okay.
People tend to drive slower because it makes noise, and it makes your car feel a little different, but.
Now, the longer it's down, the harder it gets.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
Mhm.
So after, it might be a little soft, a little more dusty
Yeah.
initially, but okay.
Some of the difference, like the townships typically do this on a 5 to 7 year cycle, and their roads can bleed. We are not on a chip seal cycle for these roads, so it's going to be a little bit different than you think about a township road because we haven't been dosing it with the oil on a regular cycle.
Okay.
Is this the beginning of us putting it on chips in this cycle?
Probably not. You know, it depends, right? I mean, we have a lot of large projects coming at the city, right? And so this is sort of an interim measure because I would prefer to go on a permanent chip seal cycle for these streets, but we know that Columbia Gas is going to be doing quite a bit of digging. Later in the meeting, you're going to be talking about the Safe Routes to School sidewalk program, where we're getting ready to build sidewalks. Some of that will be tearing into the road. We're hoping to look at 3 phases of sidewalk improvements. So, you know, we don't want to invest perhaps in the paving and then be back there tearing it up. So in a lot of ways, it's an interim measure. We have done limited chip seal in my 10 years here, but I don't see us going wild with that. I'd hope to pull back out of that and get back into a regular mill and fill program. But where we are now, we're kind of making decisions on those lines to help other projects.
Thank you. I really appreciate you staying. Thanks for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Any other questions? Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Jacklin.
Yeah, I voted yes.
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Next resolution is resolution number 2026-05. Mr. Sherman?
A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to advertise for bids and enter into contract for the renovation of 2 floors of the 236 South Main Street, Mount Vernon Municipal Center, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Severns?
Yes, I move to adopt Resolution 2026-05.
Second?
And moved and second for the adoption of this resolution. Any discussion? Mr. Severns?
Council, we've had a committee meeting on this. This is the move into the COTC building, which will become basically our city hall. I don't know if there are any other questions, but if not, I think we need to try to move this forward.
Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Jacklin.
Yes.
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. We move now to resolutions for second reading. The first one is resolution number 2026-07. Mr. Sherman.
A resolution adopting the Knox County Multi-Jurisdictional Natural Hazard Mitigation Plan and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Miller.
Yes, Mr. President. I move that we suspend the rules for 3 separate readings and take this to its third and final reading.
Second?
And moving to second for the suspension of the rules. Any discussion on the suspension? Mr. Sherman.
Mr. Jacklin.
Yes.
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
Rule is suspended. Mr. Miller.
I move to adopt the resolution. Is it, 2026 dash, I can't read.
07.
2026-07, thank you.
Second?
And moving to second for the adoption of this resolution. Any discussion? Mr. Miller, any discussion?
Yeah, this was brought up in committee and everything. We spent quite a bit of time on it, covered all the different aspects of it. I think it's something that we definitely need to adopt in the fact of, just the standalone fact that if we don't, we have no recourse of action as far as applying for any funds from FEMA in the event of a disaster or anything. So it's with that I would ask that we adopt this.
Any other discussion? Mr. Sherman.
Mr. Jacklin.
Yes.
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Next resolution is resolution number 2026-08. Mr. Sherman.
A resolution authorizing and directing the Safety Service Director to file an application to the State of Ohio to participate in the Brownfield Remediation Program for the Mount Vernon Justice Center and State Route 13 projects.
Mr. Severns.
Yes, we'll give this a second reading tonight.
This resolution receives a second reading. Now move to resolution number 2026-10. Mr. Sherman.
A resolution authorizing and directing the Safety Service Director to enter into contract with the Ohio Department of Transportation for the KNO 125040 SR13 Corpo project and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Severns.
Yes, we will give this a second reading tonight.
This resolution receives a second reading. Now I move to resolution number 2026-12. Mr. Sherman.
A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to advertise for bids and award a qualification-based selection for design services related to the North Sandusky Street and Upper Fredericktown Road Improvements Project, KNO 125040 SR13 Corpo, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Severns.
Yes, we will give this a second reading tonight.
This resolution receives a second reading. We now move to resolutions for first reading. The first one is resolution number 2026-15. Mr. Sherman.
A resolution confirming the mayor's reappointment of Catherine Breckler to the Knox County Health District Board and reappointments of Lorraine Voss, Jordan Schremschrock, and Aaron Moreland to the Library Board of Trustees, and declaring an emergency.
Mrs. Keener.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend the rule requiring 3 separate readings and take resolutions 2026-15 to its third and final reading.
Second.
And move to second for the suspension of the rules. Any discussion on the suspension? Mr. Sherman.
Mr. Jacklin.
Yes.
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
The rule is suspended. Mrs. Keener.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to adopt Resolution 2026-15.
Second.
And move to second for the adoption of this resolution. Any discussion? Mrs. Keener.
Well, we heard from Zach Green that they're really excited about getting this position on the Knox County Health District Board filled. But, Mr. Mayor, do you have some comments on those?
Sure. Kathy Breckler is doing a phenomenal job for us, and she's asked to continue with that, and they're happy with her. Absolutely want to continue that going. The other 3 are for the Library Board of Trustees. This board meets typically just once a year, and their sole purpose is to essentially decide what to do with the funds that come from the endowment interest. And so how they basically decide what that's to be done. And all 3 of these individuals Lorraine and Jordan and Aaron are enjoying doing this work too, so they wanted to continue.
While we're talking about the library board, kudos to John Chittister. It's been there
Yes,
50 years.
50 years.
50 years as a chair. He's probably read a few books in that time. Any other discussion? Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Jacklin.
Yes.
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Next resolution is resolution number 2026-16. Mr. Sherman?
A resolution authorizing and directing the Safety Service Director to file a grant application to the Ohio Department of Transportation for the Safe Routes to School Project Phase 2 and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Severns?
Yes, we'll give this a first reading. Mr. Sayers, do we need a committee meeting or not necessarily on this one?
We might, this is a safe routes to school. I think it'd probably be a good idea just to review this again. Maybe
Let's do
10
a
minutes. 5 to 10 minutes.
5-minute committee meeting. We're gonna stick to 5 minutes there.
This resolution receives its first reading. Next resolution is resolution number 2026-17. Mr. Sherman?
A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to advertise for bids and award a qualification-based selection for design services related to the South End Pedestrian Safety Improvements Project Phase 1, KNO 122162 SRTS, State Route 586, PID 2411301.
Mr. Severns?
Yes, we'll give this a first reading, and I'll tell you what, we'll combine them together, Mr. Sherman, in 10 minutes total, I think, for both of these at the next meeting.
You just want to hear him read all those numbers again.
Yes, I know.
That resolution says its first reading. The next resolution is resolution number 2026-18. Mr. Sherman?
A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to dispose of vehicles in the police department not needed for public use by the city of Mount Vernon and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Mahan?
Yes, sir. I move to suspend the rule requiring 3 separate readings. Take resolution 2026-18 to its third and final reading.
Second.
Move to second for suspension of the rules. Any discussion on the suspension? Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Jacklin.
Yes.
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
The rule is suspended. Mr. Mahan?
Thank you, sir. I move to adopt resolution 2026-18.
Second.
Move to second for the adoption of this resolution. Any discussion? Mr. Mahan?
I believe this is where Janice would say, we're going to sell a
We're gonna sell some
motorcycle.
vehicles.
So in honor of Janice, let's sell a motorcycle,
Let's
Chief.
sell a motorcycle. Standard fare, we've accumulated some more vehicles in the impound lot and processed them through, and it's time to move them off our books. So, thank you.
Questions, council?
Questions?
Nearly bringing the Janice in.
I was gonna say, that's.
It's okay. Just,
Yeah,
Okay.
several of these are pretty rough.
Could be good snow cars. Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Jacklin.
Yes.
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted. The final resolution for this evening is resolution number 2026-19. Mr. Sherman?
A resolution authorizing and directing the auditor of the city of Mount Vernon to pay bills pursuant to section 5705.41D, then and now certifications.
Mr. Mahan?
Thank you, sir. I move to suspend the rule requiring 3 separate readings. Take resolution number 2026-19 to its third and final reading.
Second.
And move to second for the suspension of the rules. Any discussion on the suspension? Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Jacklin.
Yes.
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
The rule is suspended. Mr. Mahan?
I move to adopt resolution 2026-19.
Second.
And move to second for the adoption of this resolution. Any discussion? Mr. Mahan?
I believe the auditor's going to take those funds from the motorcycle sale and buy a fire truck.
Absolutely.
That's not exactly what's happening. Could you help us out here, Mr. Auditor?
Yes, sir. So we just have a couple bills that need paid here. One is from my office for Civica North America for around $3,500. That's what we use to track our fixed assets, basically everything the city owns. That's a physical asset. So we track those within our office. The second one is for striker sales, which probably shouldn't be on here. It's a carry forward PO, but striker are those gurneys that if you ever see
Power cots.
yeah, power cots that firefighters are coming into your house to help with a lift assist or something like that. So that's for that.
It's an attachment for our medic as well, the power lift medic attachment.
And that one was planned for in a previous year. And then
It's carried forward from the last budget.
yeah. And then the one from our office is one that just as the beginning of the year comes, these things happen.
Just a reminder, any of us could need those power cards, so.
Speak for yourself.
It's a good decision. Any other discussion? Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Jacklin,
Yes.
Mr. Ruckman,
Yes.
Mrs. Hager,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Ms. Keener,
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. That concludes the resolutions for this evening. We now move to ordinances. First ordinance is ordinance number 2026-1. Mr. Sherman?
An ordinance establishing compensation, benefits, and terms of employment for the city clerk and declaring an emergency.
Mrs. Keener?
I'm going to go ahead and give this its second reading.
This resolution, this ordinance receives its second reading. Now I move to ordinance number 2026-02. Mr. Sherman?
An ordinance to amend section 911.04 of the codified ordinances of the city of Mount Vernon.
Mr. Ruckman?
Yes, I move to give this its second reading.
Kind of foggy. Okay. Now, we have one added this evening for first reading. That's ordinance number 2026-03. Mr. Sherman?
It's this one.
Zach?
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, thanks. An ordinance establishing compensation, benefits, and terms of employment for the executive administrator for public utilities and code enforcement, and declaring an emergency.
Mrs. Keener?
I'm going to go ahead and give this its first reading, and can we have a 15-minute committee meeting at our next meeting?
This ordinance receives its first reading. We'll have a committee meeting at our next meeting. Now I move to remarks of administration. Mayor Starr.
Thank you, Mr. President and council. Council, I'm not going to repeat the things that I sent you in that update on Friday, so I do want to let you know just a couple of things with regard to our public works. We did get some numbers in from our Director of Public Works, Mr. Hinkle, on the weather events, just so you all know, that we had totaled 185 hours of overtime. That was we had 24 hours. We were on the clock 24 hours a day, and so that was also we used $3,000 worth of fuel. We did stretch our product, our material as far as we can, and we finally got our first delivery of our salt and mix today for this year. So anyway, we've been removing the snow piles. This year, because of the amount of snow that we received several requests for alleys. Well, we have 92 miles of city streets, and 78 are actually city, and the others are state routes or federal highway. We also have 50 miles of alleys. Wow. Alleys received a very big request because people couldn't get in and out of their homes and their businesses with the alleys that they were, but we were able to get those done. Then when we're able to get all these things and handle the drifting, then we can get to our city sidewalks and our bridges and so forth. And so again, we count on people to be able to help manage the sidewalks in front of their own homes, because it is up to the property owner to do that. We haven't had this amount of snow for 10 years. So It's not like this happens that often, but when it does, we need every hand on deck. And we did get help from our public utilities folks to come over and help us with the snow removal and everything as well. So our crew really, I think, conducted themselves valiantly. I'm very proud of them. And so we are ready. We're ready for the next one. They're rested up by and large, and but we're ready for the next one. We could get something maybe in a couple weeks. We're not sure. I'm not trying to tempt fate, but anyway, we're ready. Let's see what else. The Washington Forum I thought was very interesting. Those of you who were able to make it, I was incredibly impressed with Dr. Jeff Sekenga from the Ashbrook Institute, who really offered a lot of hope, particularly in a time where we just seem to be so divided in our country. I think it was just wonderful, wonderful talk, and really appreciate him coming to town to do that. The next one is going to be on the 24th of February at 6 o'clock at the Woodward, and it's on the second floor conference room there, or it's in the theater. It will be in the theater on the third floor, where we will be learning about Ohio's presidents who have made an impact on our history. So if you want to come in to do that, you can do it. You do not have to RSVP; just show up, and you'll be able to be a part of that. Very happy about that. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that I'm gonna look at Mr. Ruckman there just because he always gives me a hard time. But I am starting a city sustainability advisory group. This is something that is not a mandate. We're not doing mandates. We're not doing legislation. It's not a council. There's no legal parameters on this. It is purely to offer advice to the city in our efforts to leave something that is worth inheriting when we are no longer here. And so I'm putting together a group of that. I really would like to have someone from council as a part of this as well, to just be a liaison there. So I'll be reaching out, Mr. President, and if anybody is hot on this, please let me know sooner rather than later. But we're looking at probably doing something quarterly meeting and getting an action plan to just take a look and see what are some things that we are doing already that we're not quantifying. That is being really responsible, that the public can be proud of. And we're really trying to inspire voluntary participation to reduce, reuse, and recycle, among other things. But part of what is about sustainability are these safe routes to school, these sidewalks, these multi-use paths that people are using alternative forms of transportation to get to and from point A to point B. And so we're going to be looking at lots of different issues, and but I would like to have someone from council represent us. So anyway, that is all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Salyers.
Thank you, Mr. President. As the mayor mentioned earlier, deer season has ended. We will report on our first season with a deer management program. We're all still here, so that's good. And we will make a recommendation to council on any changes that we feel would be positive for the program. We will first send out a survey to our hunters that participated, any property owners that also participated in that as well. We'll compile that. I'll work with my assistant here, and we'll have that report back with you at the next, as Councilman Severance would say, meeting of us all. As the mayor mentioned, the Washington Forum, the next installment of the Washington Forum will be on Ohio's role in shaping the nation, Mother of Presidents. That will be Tuesday, February 24th at the Woodward in the Main Theater. That's free and open to the public. It will begin at 6 p.m. The speakers will be from a multitude of universities across Ohio, or professors from universities across Ohio. So we hope that you will attend that. Also, we have noticed some comments from the public that folks are upset with the abundance, and maybe even in this room, are upset with the abundance of gas stations, oil change shops, and so forth and so on. Contrary to popular belief, the mayor does not have a wheel in his office that he and I giggle and spin, and with a very small sliver that says Chick-fil-A on it, and we, ha ha! Gotcha.
Could we get one of those?
We, but yeah, no. We do not control that. It is very much market driven. However, we hear you, Mount Vernon. We see you, and I'm going to tease this tonight, and to the media, you'll have a more detailed response tomorrow. But we are excited to announce that we've officially signed a 3-year contract with Retail Strategies LLC, which is a nationally recognized retail and restaurant recruitment firm based in Alabama. And this partnership will focus on attracting new retail, restaurant, and mixed-use development opportunities that support long-term economic growth and enhance our community's quality of life. Retail Strategies works with communities like ours to identify market opportunities, recruit businesses that fit the local vision, and connect cities with retailers, developers, and real estate partners. Their data-driven approach, very specific, very forward-thinking, and it's a hands-on outreach that help position communities like ours for growth while strengthening local amenities for residents and visitors alike. So more details about this partnership will be developed and shared later this week. In the meantime, we want to begin spreading the word to potential businesses, development, and real estate partners who may be interested in being a part of this city's continued growth. What does that mean? That means if you are interested in opening a steak restaurant, now would be the time to start looking into that. If you have property that would be conducive to hosting a steak restaurant, now would be the time to start engaging in that, because that's how that works. The city does not pick and choose things. We have zoning rules, and as long as that meets those zoning rules, well then, power to you, man. And I just want to say, from our point of view, and I'm sure everybody in here shares that, we jest, but all jobs in the city, all businesses in the city that are legal, we appreciate. We appreciate business being here. I don't care if you're a gas station. I don't care if you're a, an oil change, tire and lube. Every business that I see complained about on social media ends up having somebody at the front door. They're here for a reason. So thank you for taking the plunge and investing in our community. We welcome you. Mount Vernon is proud to, we are open for business. And if you see a market need in our community, well, put your money where your mouth is, and I can't wait to be at insert steakhouse. So, and in the meantime, we are going to explore ways to make Mount Vernon even more marketable and a great place to live, work, and raise a family. So, there you go.
Thank you. Mr. Brinkman. Mr. Stoller.
Nothing tonight, Mr. President.
Mr. Brown.
I have nothing, thank you.
Mr. Miller.
Nothing this evening.
Mr. Ruckman.
Nothing, Mr. President.
Mrs. Hager.
Mr. President, I just wanted to thank everyone that had coffee with council on Saturday. It was really fun. It was a great opportunity for anybody that feels like I can never get a hold of Mount Vernon City Council. There was 4 of us there, and we just waited for anyone to come and chat with us about the matters of city concern. So we'll be doing it again, I'm sure, and when that happens, come and see us. We'd love to chat. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mahan.
Thank you, sir. I want to second the Washington Forum. That was very interesting, and it was, there's no cost, and it's just opportunity to come out and, you know, I'm sure there's gonna be all kinds of ways to celebrate America 250. And, you know, you may be interested in the big party, or you might be interested in some history and learning things you didn't know. And it was a really pleasure to have the expert here from Ashland University. He was excellent. So again, another one here at the end of February. I want to say congratulations to the award winners, MVPD. They had their awards banquet, and that's a tough job, and we appreciate the men and women of the Mount Vernon PD, and congratulations to their award winners. And I, for one, get my oil changed twice a year or so, and am grateful for the shop and the technicians that do it. I don't know why there's a problem with change places. I will eat a Chick-fil-A if we have one. But
After you get your oil changed.
And that will all be covered by the fog, we know now, which was new information. But I think we can be excited about the old Mount Vernon News Building. The new name of that facility escapes me.
Founders Hall.
Thank you. And I haven't had the opportunity to be in the ground floor of that. It's being used by MVNU engineering, math, and computer science. And that's a nice facility. And I think, you know, having the food hall upstairs. I understand Pizza by the Slice is coming, and some other good things. So looking forward to that. I encourage citizens to get out and check that out when it opens. We have a date, any idea on the date of that?
I think it's the end of March.
I can't, okay.
End of March.
Excellent. So that's going to be a great addition, and I encourage folks to get out and give that a try. Thank you, sir.
Mrs. Keener.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Mr. Severance.
Nothing.
Mr. Jacklin. Well, I'd like to mention that this Saturday from 1 to 4, our church is hosting a repair cafe. We do that we do that 4 times a year. And if you haven't broken anything, break it this week and bring it Saturday. And we try our best to fix things. We need 2 things. If you know how to fix things, come on. You know, we can use your help. If you have something broken, bring it. Our goal is to not throw things in the trash and disposal, the safe things, and to have them reusable. We usually have about 20 to 30 items every time we do it, and I appreciate doing it. Anything from bicycles to lamps to sewing items to vacuum sweepers, a lot of things people bring that they need to have repaired, and I enjoy doing it. If you enjoy doing it, come and help us. If you have something broken, bring it. So that's it's at the St. Paul's Parish House, which is on Gay Street, the lower level of our parish house there. Come and you're certainly welcome to bring items. We'd love to have you there. Thank you for media for being here this evening. That being said, I call for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second. We adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.